A lot of people wonder, what does a freelance fashion designer do? And the reality is that when you're a freelancer, you can do anything you want. Now, of course, your skills need to line up with what your clients potentially need, but you are ultimately in control. So what is the list of various things look like that you can do as a freelance fashion designer? You can do fashion flats in Adobe Illustrator. You can do the design process. You can do color and trend forecasting and research. You can do tech packs. You can do pattern drafting, sourcing, product development, consulting, and so much more. And the really cool thing about this list of things you can do as a freelance fashion designer is that you can do one thing on the list for a lot of different brands, or you can do multiple things on the list for a specific type of brand. I'm going to give you some very, very tangible examples of what this means and tell you about some specific freelancers and what services they offer and what they do in their freelance fashion design career. But first, if you are curious about how to figure out what you should do as a freelance fashion designer, and what type of services and what type of brands you could work with, I have a free worksheet for you. You can grab it below in the link, and that will help you figure out your services as a freelance fashion designer. So beyond that, what are some specific examples, right? I gave you this master list of what you can do, but what are some specific examples? I want to share some stories from some students in my Freelance Accelerator program and tell you about the services that they offer to their clients so that you get a really clear idea of what your options could be. So first up, we've got a handful of people that I'm going to tell you about who work specifically in a category. They do a lot of different services, but for one category. And then I'm going to tell you about people who do one specific service, but for a lot of different types of brands. So let's talk about the category examples. First up is Mari. Mari is a Puerto Rican and she lives in New York City, and she specifically and exclusively works with sustainable knit sweater brands. So that's very, very specific niche. She's crushing it. She recently just sent her first $5,000 invoice. She's also on maternity leave right now, and she has told me that there's no way she would have been able to take such a relaxing and flexible maternity leave had she still been working full-time in the industry. And so Mari does everything for sustainable knit sweater brands. She does design, she does sourcing, she does tech packs. She helps them with the entire process, but just for that specific category. There's also Amy. Amy is one of our really, really successful students inside of our Freelance Accelerator program, and she works exclusively with men's lifestyle and golf brands. Now, Amy is a mom, and she loves the flexibility that her freelance lifestyle offers her, and she also loves that she gets to pick and choose what she does for her clients. So she works, as I said, specifically with men's lifestyle brands, and she does everything for them from design through the development through tech packs, except she does not do sourcing. She says that she's just not really that great at it and she doesn't love it, so she decides that she doesn't want to do that. That is the power of being a freelancer. You get to pick and choose what you do. The third example I want to share with you is LUCIA. LUCIA is from Argentina and she lives in Germany. She is crushing it in her freelance career. She is also a mom to 2 young boys, and she really likes the flexibility of getting to be at home and work, when her kids are sleeping, and still get quality time with them as opposed to working full time. And LUCIA specifically does textile design for kids wear brands. So her category is kids wear. And then inside of that, she also specifically offers a service. She does do a little bit of design outside, design of the silhouettes outside of the textiles, but her main focus is textile design. Now, if you're curious to hear more about these specific examples and the stories of how these freelancers built their freelance career, they have all been guests on my Successful Fashion Freelancer podcast. We will link to those episodes below. But beyond that, I want to talk about a different way you can approach being a freelance fashion designer. So here I'm going to tell you some stories of freelancers who are offering a specific service and not doing, the whole process, right? Like Mari does all the process. She does the flats, she does the tech pack, she does design, she does sourcing, she does fitting. But these freelancers have chosen a very specific service that they're offering, and then they offer that to a different assortment of brands. So first up is Alison. Alison does pattern making, and that is explicitly what she does. She's a pattern maker in the freelance space. Now, she does also have a very focused niche that she works with within the pattern making space. She prefers to work with small women's startup brands who are pursuing a slow fashion model. All right. She is crushing it. She's booked 2 to 3 months in advance, and she is earning 75% more as a freelance fashion designer than she was earning in her full-time job, where she was doing all the different pieces and parts of the process. She was doing a lot of technical design and pattern making. And she said that her true heart and her true love is the pattern making. And so that's where she has focused her freelance career. Beyond that, we have ARYA. ARYA is another Freelance Accelerator graduate who is explicitly doing fashion flats. She's not offering any other parts of the process, not technical design, not pattern making, not sourcing, just fashion flats. Now, ARYA got started without any fashion industry experience, without having gone to fashion school, and she lives in India in a small town where there's no industry or anything, and she's crushing it. She's earning $20 an hour, which for India, she's 20 years old. First of all, she's 20 years old. For India, that's an amazing hourly rate. She's working with brands around the world. In her first few weeks of freelancing, she landed her first 6 clients just offering fashion flats. Okay. So I love these stories because they really showcase what you can do as a freelance fashion designer. Like I said, you don't have to do all parts of the process. You don't have to know every single how to do every single thing. You can focus on a specific service or a specific category and absolutely kill it, even if you don't have any experience and even if you didn't go to fashion school. So then last up, I want to share a story of Eleni. Eleni is another one of our Freelance Accelerator students who's from Greece, and she exclusively does tech packs. She doesn't do anything else. She doesn't do design or pattern making or sourcing or work with the factors or anything. She does tech packs. Now, Eleni is doing amazing. She also started her freelance career with no real industry experience, and she is working part-time, which is her choice as a freelance fashion designer. She gets to choose. She works part-time, and she's earning between $3,000 and $4,000 a month consistently working part-time in Greece. Now, I didn't know this, but she shared with me that that is about 4 to 5 times the salary rate for the average fashion designer in Greece makes. So she is absolutely killing it. She works with brands all around the world. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter your experience. You can offer one specific skill and absolutely do an amazing job in your freelance career. If you are curious about what your earning potential is as a freelancer in fashion, I have a cash calculator, which you should check out. It's so much fun. You punch in 2 numbers and it will spit out what your earning potential is. You can grab that. It's linked below. And just see what could your life look like as a freelance fashion designer, doing the things you love, saying no to the things that you don't want to do, and earning so much more than you can earn in a full-time job in the fashion industry. Beyond this, freelancing is the best way to have the freedom and flexibility in your life and get to do what lights you up. Thank you so much for watching. I am so Heidi, and I teach fashion designers like you how to kick ass in their freelance career. I've got a podcast where I interview tons of real-life freelancers and share their full stories of how they're crushing it, how they got to where they are, and tons of other content on the site. Please subscribe if you liked this video, and check out the podcast and all the other free resources linked below.